with AJ Preller, I want to get your thoughts on what does he have to do, or at least the Padres, results-wise, the minimum that the Padres have to do for AJ to keep his job after the 2024 season?
Well, I think that's a tough one because we got to remember AJ's under contract for until 2026 through the
Yeah.
2026 season. I think number one, you got to have a winning season, and does that mean 82 and 80, or does that mean 84 and 78? I think you got to have a winning season, and I think a lot of people probably feel you have to get to the playoffs. I mean, if you can get to the playoffs. With the expanded playoffs, I mean, if you win 84 games, you ought to be able to get in, quite frankly. I mean, we only missed by 2 games last year?
Yep.
We had an awful year. And I know we finished strong. You know, we went 16-2 against some bad ball clubs and 4-5 against good clubs down the stretch. We went 27-7, but against the teams that were 500 or better, we were only 4-5. So we got some work to do here in San Diego, no question about it. But I think if you have a winning season, I think the general manager's safe. I mean, if you ended up winning, 70 games, 71, 72, or finish 7 or 8 games under 500, then, I think the clock could be ticking pretty quick on AJ.
Yeah, with AJ winning season, because I just don't know, because Eric Kutena hasn't talked yet. That's the tough thing. Like, I don't know how he feels about AJ Preller. What we do know is no one liked AJ Preller more than Peter Seidler. So that's why I just wonder, if they don't make the postseason, that's where it's like, okay, it's 2 postseason appearances in 10 seasons, 1 in 9 full seasons. And that's where, the fan base obviously is going to want AJ Preller gone. Where do you stand? Do you think that AJ should have already been gone before this past offseason? I understand him staying this offseason with all of the circumstances that happened, obviously. But before, I mean, some thought that he shouldn't even been allowed to hire Bob Melvin. Like, he got 2 chances at the manager. He went with Tingler that second time around, and he should have been gone after that. Like, are you good with AJ still being here?
Well, Ben, there's a lot to unpack with AJ Preller. First of all, when he took this job, it was in August of 2014. Okay, so his first full year was 2015, and they wanted to go and get all those veterans, James Shields, Matt Kemp. I think that was an ownership thing more than an AJ thing, because at that point in time, I think Peter Seidler, God rest his soul, good man, and knew him very well, and actually met with him a couple of weeks prior to him hiring AJ Preller. We met at a restaurant up off of Mira Mesa Boulevard, and he wanted to get my thoughts on the organization, and I shared my thoughts with him that afternoon, and we talked about AJ, and this is about a week to 10 days before he actually hired AJ as a general manager. But you got to remember, this organization was not very good. They'd gone through, John Morris towards the end, things were, not going well. And then Jeff Morad briefly owned the ball club. And then Peter Seidler and Ron Fowler jumped in. So AJ came into a system that had not developed players, and he slowly built that farm system. And of course, shortly after that 2015 started the year, after 65 games, they blew out Buddy Black and they brought in Pat Murphy, which I thought was a real mistake in my opinion. Pat Murphy, I think, was a little bit overwhelmed managing. I know he's going to get another opportunity this year in Milwaukee, and I'm sure he'll do a much better job there in Milwaukee than he did here. The players just weren't buying into what he was selling. And of course, you had a lot of veteran players on that team that they eventually, peddled down the road. And of course, Shields went in the Fernando deal. But AJ had to build this farm system up. He did. He traded a lot of those guys away. We've been expecting more wins, obviously. He's done a lot of really, really good things, but he also, to be honest with you, is very fortunate that Mr. Seidler, believed in continuity, because most general managers, let's be honest, they get 3 to 5 years. I mean, he's going on year number 10 right now. And, something has to change. They've obviously changed the managers out from Buddy Black, who AJ didn't hire, to Pat Murphy, who was interim, and then to Andy Green for 4 years, Jace Tingler for 2, Bob Melvin for 2, and now Mike Schilt. I got to believe he's hired his final manager as the general manager of the San Diego Padres. And if this doesn't work over this year or next year, then, they're going to have no other choice but to go a different direction. But, I'll tell you this, I like AJ Preller personally. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a hard-working guy. I think he's been blessed with great ownership, who's given him pretty much carte blanche to do pretty much anything he's wanted to do. And, overall, it just really hasn't worked out like he would have liked and like you and I and all the fans would have liked.